Alright guys, TacticalRab back again today. Hope you're all doing well and enjoying your day so far. The second weekend of the beta is here, the crossplay is on, PCs are able to play this game now, and yes, the feedback has stayed relatively the same for a lot of the pro players, even some more stuff has been added into the mix. But Shotzzy, once again, he's at it again. He's leaked the fact that he believes CTF will be the third game mode this year, rather than Domination, that we saw may have been the case a few days ago. Very much intrigued to your thoughts in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new as always, I'd greatly appreciate it. Really helps out the channel. Thank you very much indeed for doing that one. Here we go then. Firstly, some announcement from Scraps. Here we go, saying, okay, you know, amount of time until he gets back himself into the league. This was a strange announcement, I thought, from LAG. I'm not exactly sure why they've decided to part ways with aBeZy here, but as they say, today we part ways with aBeZy after 2 years with our organisation. Of course, he was with them during Los Angeles Guerrillas days in Cold War, actually on their starting team. Then he came onto them as kind of like a content creator side for the last season, and I thought that was a pretty decent relationship they had going on there. But as they say, he's been a core piece of the family, and now he's moving on. Can't wait to see what's next for you. So I don't know if aBeZy commented on this actually. I guess we can have a look just real quick. Want to give a big thank you to Los Angeles Guerrillas for helping me start my new journey. So difficult to say whether he's decided to move on or they've decided to move on from him, but wishing the best, of course, for aBeZy going forwards. This from the Boston Reach confirms now their substitute will indeed be Beans. This is just interesting to me, the fact that Beans, Wardy, these guys we believe are going to Boston and New York subliners respectively on their substitute bench for now. The two top prospects really from the European Challenger scene last season, and yet London hasn't got either of these guys. So yeah, Beans is going to be on the bench there. It's interesting that Beans, because I think he's generally going to be a more flex type player, but of course they brought Awakening in that kind of role. So it's like you're not really going to get Beans in for methods because, you know, maybe the leadership or whatever doesn't really work out, but it's interesting regardless to look at, just because we have seen in the past that talented AR players sitting there on the bench, talented, you know, UK AR players like Insight on the bench in the past, like methods have had a bit of an issue with those type of guys. So we'll see how this goes, but definitely keeping the pressure on the ARs on that team to keep on delivering with Beans on the bench as it stands. Let's dive into the beta then. Loads of discussion on this, of course. The video I do later today, if I get time to do another one, it might be something different, or it's going to be Scump talking about the time to kill in this game that I prepared for a few days ago, because as I'm away right now, moving around a bit, not getting that much time to record absolutely everything. But look, there's plenty of discussion on the beta as it was today. So Shotzzy, of course, was on it beta soon, as he says. Now, first of all, there are some positive things that I've at least got to mention here. Firstly, this. So the visibility was a major complaint last week during week 1, where you can see all the smoke here on the left-hand side. This is week 1. Week 2 of the beta, the smoke visibility is largely much reduced when you're actually firing your weapon. So I think that is a good thing to say the least. Now, look, the visibility in general is nowhere near as good as it could be. I just don't really understand why the players can't just have a nameplate above their head that says they're an enemy, but you know, maybe I'm old-fashioned or something. So still, the visibility isn't great, but this is one positive step. Now, speaking of visibility, the smokes have been a big discussion point. I don't know what's happening on this bloke's screen right here. Thanks for pointing this out to me. But yeah, clearly this smoke is glitched, and it's just, well, I mean, look at this. What is even going on this screen? Now, the smoke in this game is not like a smoke grenade. It's actually a field upgrade that you can call in to drop on the map, kind of like the napalm strike from Black Ops 1. That's probably like such a unnecessary old cold school reference, but you guys know what I'm saying, really, like, you know, rolling thunder type thing. You just call in where it arrives on the map, and it comes in across pretty much the entirety of the map. Now, it's not a smoke grenade, unfortunately. You can actually see right here how this works, right? You bring your iPad up, you align this kind of line of smoke here, this wall of smoke on the map, and then it comes down for a few seconds. Now, of course, this is a really cool idea on paper. It actually looks really cool when it actually arrives, but surely Infinity will have to realize that something like this is going to be way too strong in something like Search and Destroy. You have one of your guys bring in the smoke wall, and you can just, like, destroy the line of sight for an entire side of the map, right? Like, you can cut off everything with this smoke. You have to, obviously, you just place it yourself. There's no skill involved in actually landing a well-thrown smoke grenade in a position where it's actually going to allow you to cross over a sniper's line of sight or something. So the idea is really cool, but I don't really think this is going to be viable in competitive, right? Because, I mean, you call this in Search and Destroy, and also you can see through it. You see how it's kind of see-through? It's not opaque smoke, which probably means there's going to be opportunities to one-way through it, and it's kind of what we've seen in the last few years. It looks cool, the idea, the fact that it's a field upgrade, but you use one of these things in Search and Destroy, and you're given such a massive advantage in terms that you can block off absolutely everything on the entire map. So if they had this just for a smaller area, or if they also just add a normal smoke grenade, I can see it being used, but yeah, as it stands, the smoke is probably not going to be viable, unfortunately. They're going to need to change it around. And also, this I thought was pretty funny, because I was mentioning, yeah, you can block off the snipers. As it stands, you can't. because there's a smoke grenade right here, or a smoke field upgrade, whatever. This guy with the scope on his weapon is just shooting straight through the smoke. I mean, like, absolutely no problem at all. Can see straight through it. So, I mean, yeah, vintage Infinity Ward type stuff. Now, plenty of feedback also from around the world. Scump and co were playing the game last night, and the scan and repair issue was immediately back in business here. I think a lot of people generally said that on PC, the game feels a bit better, but the game is not exactly ideal, as we've seen the last few years. The scan and repair issue, when it just crashes for no reason, especially on certain maps, that is back in business now. And even as Octane says, I think I've got scan and repair more times in the last 3 hours than all of last year combined. It was a major issue back in Cold War. Then last season, it was talked about a fair bit, but not awful. You know, it wasn't absolutely terrible. And then this season, apparently, we're back in business, baby. Scan and repairs back all the time. And I'm sure if you guys played last night, you'll have definitely have experienced this to some degree on the PC. So yes, Octane wasn't happy. Simp as well says the same thing. I think even Simp said he was experiencing it, particularly on maybe the market map or whatever map he was trying to play that was causing him problems. But yeah, scan and repair, not being able to play that market map just killed any vibe I had today. So, and I think even Kenny tried to hop on for like a couple of hours. He literally was playing like 1 game an hour. That was his rate because the game was crashing so much. And then was like, yeah, screw this. I'm going back to Apex for the rest of the night. So not always the greatest impression for people into the beta if their game keeps on crashing. This is one other thing. And I know some people have said, you know, come on, it's pretty easy to figure out how the weapon progression works. But I don't know. I saw Slasher talking about this and he was like, look, I'm a professional Call of Duty player for the last decade. And I have no idea how to actually rank up my weapons. Octane's explaining it here. That in order to get the MP5, you have to get to level 16 on this certain weapon. And then you have to level it up. And then on that AR, you then unlock the MP5 or something. Because you get these like receivers or whatever it's called. And once you unlock them, then you're allowed to get another weapon. And then you have to level that gun up. And then you get the attachments over. Like, I tried to look into explaining this one because I've been away. I haven't been able to actually play the game myself. But I still can't really wrap my head around how it works. I'm sure you guys are kind of the same. I'm like, how are we appealing this to casuals? Like, surely the idea is for, you know, casual players, you hop on after work, you just, you know, hop on the game, shoot a few people for a couple of hours, rather than having to, you know, get a PhD in gunsmith technology to actually figure this one out. So Octane's a bit confused, but I think he's worked out how to get to the MP5, so fair play. And this is another one of the key issues, which of course remains, and I'm sure you guys have experienced this. Probably your first game with the skill-based matchmaking was rather good, then you went into another game where people are playing in a rather different way, sitting back, relaxing, turning up the headsets to the absolute max, right? And I think this is a very frustrating thing in Modern Warfare 2019, and even, of course, in the current game as it stands, that you're trying to run around and you just see this guy who, like, he had his headset cranked up to the max, and he turns around and shoots you because there really is no incentive to move at all in this game. So great job, Infinity Ward, yet again. Now, let's talk CTF then. So we saw the other day that domination is in the game as it stands under the CDL game modes, but Daniel Sai, the CDL commissioner, said, look, it's not going to be domination, we're not doing that again. So Shotzzy has heard that between Control and CTF, the two game modes that might be the most viable here, he reckons CTF is going to be the third mode. This is what he has to say on stream.
What's the third game mode?
That's a good question.
I assume Control.
Nah, I heard it was CTF.
Oh man, I won't move from that flag.
I won't move.
What? I used to play sentry guns and stand behind them.
It's a classic Shotzzy, of course, leaking information that he's heard, but it isn't necessarily yet public. So there were some implications that there was going to be CTF in the game, like we saw actually a while ago. I think when one of the teaser trailers came out, that it did look like there was like a CTF type logo going on. So probably CTF will be in the game. That of course makes sense. Control, of course, as yet is nowhere to be found, but could be there in due course. Now CTF, I like the idea on paper. I actually think these maps could be okay for it. The problem for me is the spawns, right? Because we know the spawns aren't going to be great. aBeZy said yesterday the spawns need work, and squad spawns, I don't really think they work for CTF. The last time we had CTF was what, back in World War II. Like that was pre the squad spawn era, and like the spawns and the map design is so crucial to actually make CTF play well that like if they go for CTF this season as seemingly they want to, then it could be an absolute disaster, to be honest. Like Control is maybe, like, I honestly really like Control. Some people don't think it's the best third game mode, but it is at least a relatively safe pick as the third game mode because you know, it kind of just works. CTF could be a disaster. This also, like, Dashy was mind-blowing because he runs into this guy who I'm not even sure what happened here, to be honest, because I mean, you guys can watch this again, but Dashy comes around the corner here, sees this guy crouching, and goes to shoot at him, right? And it looks like he's an inflatable dummy, and then the guy's actually proned on the floor and stands up. So I don't know if this is a glitch or something, or whether this guy's figured out some way to make himself look like an inflatable dummy that's crouching and then he's proned down. I just don't understand what Infinity Ward are playing at. So, you know, like, these are some of the other frustrations, as Slasher goes on to say. Dead silence, time to kill minimap. He does reckon the PC does feel way better, the beta on that, rather than on the PlayStation they were on before. But, I mean, look, what are the chances they really changed their mind about some of these key design decisions? Seems unlikely, but as Slasher says, you know, screw it. FaZe up Modern Warfare 2, best COD of all time, right? Because the snaking and other mechanics might well be decent for that FaZe team. We shall see. But, yeah, of course, still some of the frustrations from week one that really have not been addressed. And I do think one of the key issues as well is, like, when you run around and stuff, from the gameplay I've watched, it just seems like it takes so long for your weapon to actually come up. Like, they really do hate people moving around. I think that's the only way to actually show it. And of course, for competitive play, you have to move around. That's the way the game is played. So it definitely doesn't make things so easy for the SMG type players or whoever that's trying to run around. And when someone's posted them on a head glitch, those are the people that are going to dominate the scoreboard. Now, this is another remarkable thing here from the Ghost of it, but I haven't really heard anyone else talking about this. It really does align with what I was saying. They hate people moving, right? Because apparently when you activate dead silence, it's possible to hear them doing that. Like, surely that's the whole point of dead silence, is that you can't hear them doing it, but apparently not. When you activate it, like, so it's kind of dead silence, but it's kind of just silent-ish because they can still hear you when you activate it. So, like, honestly, what is that about? I can't believe it, to be honest. And Doug has got some optimism here. They're going to remove SBMM of skill-based matchmaking. They're going to have a ranked playlist at launch, and then the game is fixed. But look, let's just not get our hopes up, ladies and gentlemen, because we know how this works every single year at this point. Some have given some different feedback, though. Here's Temp saying, look, Modern Warfare 2 is 10 times better than Modern Warfare, and I'll take that. It's a great feeling. So, some reckoning that at least it's better than the game a few years ago. I do, from what I've seen, I kind of think it's that way for now. Like, the map, the way the maps are laid out, the colors of the maps, like, there's some things that make me think this game could be better than the game 3 years ago, but I mean, it better be, right? I mean, we've got to deal with this game for 2 years for competitive, so it's not going to be a pretty time if it's not. So Temp believes it's better. Like, of course, a lot of the feedback so far isn't particularly positive, understandably so, but look, still, maybe there will be changes made over time that can make this game a bit better. And yeah, who knows if Crim6 is going to return, because this guy's won the World Championship at all of the last 3 Infinity War titles. He's not even going to be competing for this one, but he's still absolutely frying here on this museum map. Very much intrigued to your thoughts in the comment section below. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy it, hit the like button, tells the YouTube god this is a good video. Others like you should see it as well, and help grow the competitive Call of Duty community. Thank you once again, as always, take care, and I'll see you next time.